Will there be a brand new Nintendo system, a more powerful system, new Switch hardware, or something of the likes releasing in 2023? I'm going to start by saying I don't have an answer for you. But what I do have is some stuff coming here from some very reliable sources out of Japan that seem to be indicating something is happening at Nintendo. Of course, something is happening. Nintendo told us back in 2021 that they were investing in new hardware, and new hardware was coming, and there'll be forward compatibility with Nintendo accounts. So technically, of course, we know something is happening. But these sources are talking about an upcoming Famitsu article that, oh boy, let's just say Nintendo's got something cooking. Got all this information originally out of the Future Nintendo Hardware Technology speculation thread over on Fami Boards, but they provided links to all of the sources, and there's been multiple translations at this point. I'm going to go with just the Google Translator version of one of the sources and a little bit of background on these sources because we're talking about Nintendo hardware. Now, this first source here we're talking about, it says, in the latest issue of Famitsu magazine, the well-known Japanese technology reporter Zenji Nishikawa talked about some moves that Nintendo may make in terms of new game consoles in 2023. I personally think that Nintendo will make some moves in terms of new hardware, even if it didn't actually go on sale. So, like, they could announce hardware or have like massive things happen, but maybe it doesn't release yet. The basis for me to say this comes from human activities. I got news by chance that a super VIP person from an American semiconductor manufacturer who rarely comes to Japan is quietly conducting a personal visit in Japan. The company's products have also been used in Nintendo's game consoles in the past, and this person's destination is the same thing that happened before Nintendo released a new game console. So, I think it may be similar to a situation this time. Of course, the purpose of this person coming to Japan may also be Rapidus. And Rapidus has been widely debated what this means. I'm not going to get into it. The point is that it seems to be inferred here that this person visiting from the United States happens to be visiting in the same area, in the same locations they did last time when Nintendo was about to launch new hardware. And this is a person who literally only comes to Japan for the biggest and most important of reasons. Look, I don't know if this means Nintendo has new hardware coming this year. What we do know about Zenji Nishikawa is that he's actually one of the most renowned Japanese reporters like in their country. He's very well known, very well respected, doesn't blow smoke up people's rear ends. And so that's the person who is writing the part of the Famitsu article that this is from. And the source of this Weibo.cn place, turns out that it actually has a 100% track record with leaks of future Famitsu magazines. So there's a lot of reason to be like, yeah, this is obviously from a future Famitsu magazine because this place always leaks stuff from future Famitsu magazines. Clearly, the people running this place have direct access to the way Famitsu does things. Maybe it's even Famitsu themselves wanting to leak this stuff out to hype up their upcoming magazine, their upcoming article releases, and make extra money. I have no idea. It could be a thing, right? Companies do that. I don't know exactly how things work in Japan, but here in the United States, companies will intentionally have things go out consistently. The fact that this place is leaking stuff constantly from Famitsu and is always right makes it kind of feel like it might be an intentional thing. But the point is that we are in this mist where we know Nintendo's making new hardware, right? They told us themselves back in 2021 they're making new hardware, and they stopped saying the Switch is in the middle of its generation. Obviously, we have other rumors out there saying, oh, the Tears of the Kingdom's the last system seller. I'm saying system seller. You guys get mad every time I say important. Look, their wording does not have to match the way that you would use their wording. I liken this to a situation where GoldenEye is coming soon, right? Nintendo told us in a Nintendo Direct, GoldenEye is coming soon. That was over 3 months ago. It's still not here. My definition of soon apparently does not match Nintendo's definition of soon. Soon for Nintendo might be 6 months. Soon for me is usually within a month. But hey, What are you going to do? So it's kind of a similar situation with the people that said this is the last major game coming to Switch. They were saying, they meant system seller, right? They were talking about system sellers, but your definition of major game might be different. Your definition might just be Nintendo first-party games. Well, they didn't say it would be the last first-party game, but this is where that language barrier comes up, and we sort of define things a little bit differently because there is no exact definition of major. There's no exact definition of soon. I mean, there's definitions in the dictionary, but how you apply those definitions is entirely subjective. So when this person comes out and says, hey, Nintendo's making major moves with hardware in 2023, he even notes he doesn't mean that it's going to be for sale. Like, he's not saying, hey, we're going to be able to buy brand new Switch hardware in 2023. He's not saying we won't, but he's not saying we will. But that major moves are going to be made for new Switch hardware or new Nintendo hardware, however we want to look at this, because we don't technically know what it is, in 2023. So what does this tell us? Well, here is what it tells us, presuming that this Zenji Nishikawa knows what he's talking about. It tells us that we're getting new Switch hardware probably by the first half of 2024. Not holiday 2024, first half of 2024, if not this year. That's it. We don't know what the new hardware is going to be. We don't know if it's going to be 4K or this or that. However, my good pal Mike Odyssey mentioned something during our live stream last night. I didn't bother to confirm this because after I looked up how much it costs to try to file trademarks, it's a bit pricey. Apparently, he was doing some research and decided to plop down some money to apply for trademarks. And the reason to plop down money for trademarks is because he was curious to see if certain things have been trademarked by Nintendo that are not publicly available yet, right? And while he was doing this, and he spent a little bit of money to try to apply for trademarks. So when you go to apply for trademarks, you're allowed to search trademark names to make sure that your trademark isn't going to infringe on somebody else's. And trademarks don't need to be posted publicly, by the way, for a long time. Like, Nintendo could have the name of their next system trademarked 3 years ago, and it wouldn't be a publicly posted trademark until after the product comes out, right? This is how you protect, unreleased products, right? So filing trademarks does have some privacy involved. However, because you could pay money to file your own trademarks and thus search the trademark database here in the United States to try to make sure that your trademark's not infringing on somebody else's trademark, you technically can spend money to find out if certain things have been trademarked. And what did Mike tell me? Well, Nintendo has apparently trademarked, even though it's not a publicly available trademark, the Nintendo Switch Up and the Nintendo Switch 4K. Also, he said Switch Pro, the Nintendo Switch Pro. However, that's probably not related to a system. It's probably one of many trademark names around the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. What happens is, companies will, there'll be a trademark around Nintendo Switch Pro controller, but then they'll also do a bunch of trademarks around any of the naming conventions of a given item. So Nintendo Switch, this, Nintendo Switch that, which you could infer, well, then why Nintendo Switch 4K? Well, 4K is a very specific thing. Doesn't mean this is going to be a Nintendo Switch 4K. Does mean at some point Nintendo thought it was relevant to trademark Nintendo Switch 4K. Is that an indication of what this is going to be? Are they going to call this Nintendo Switch 4K? Notably, Nintendo Switch 2 doesn't seem to be trademarked, at least at this time that we're aware of. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what this all means, if any of this amounts to anything. I guess just go down to the comments below and let me know, do you want new hardware this year? Or are you just, hey, you know what? We're just gonna chill. We're gonna play our Fire Emblem. We're gonna play our Bayonetta, our Kirby, our Pikmin, our Zelda, whatever else Nintendo has coming. We're just gonna play our games, not even worry about it. Are you tired of the conversation? I kind of feel like while some people used to be tired of the conversation, the calendar's turned to a new year. Remember, as of March 3rd of this year, the Nintendo Switch will have hit its 6th birthday, which means on March 4th, the Nintendo Switch will begin its 7th year of existence. Technically, it would begin at some time, at a certain time on March 3rd, but that's neither here nor there. The point is we're going to be entering the 7th year of the Switch being on the market. Obviously, by the end of that 7th year, we could be looking at new hardware. So I do think it's a relevant conversation to have. I don't know that, unless more stuff like this crops up or more news on this crops up, that there's anything to talk about. What's interesting too, because a lot of people like to reference the old Digital Foundry podcast, one of the final ones that happened last year, Digital Foundry Direct Weekly, where John Linneman went in and be like, hey, we think this thing's been delayed internally or canceled internally, the Switch Pro or whatever it was supposed to be. What's funny is a little bit later in that podcast, they talk about the T239 being in future Nintendo hardware, which was exactly what was rumored to be in the Nintendo Switch Pro, meaning that while they might hear this thing is canceled, apparently the hardware it was going to use hasn't been canceled, according to their own speculation, and that it's still going to be used. So basically, they kind of are just saying, hey, look, it won't be called a Pro anymore. It'll be a 4K. It'll be a 2, and Nintendo will just call it a next generation device. Almost like the naming convention changed or something. So, look, take that for what you will. I'm just one person on the internet blabbing to whoever cares to listen. And if you enjoyed my blabbing, I'd appreciate if you subscribe and like the video. You can't subscribe to the video, but like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch all of you guys later. We do have a podcast dropping later tonight for those that are checking this out during the day. We're going to have Super Metal Dave 64 coming on, who does talk a lot about hardware, but also keeps really, really fine, up-to-date details on Metroid Prime 4's development. So we'll be talking about that tonight as well. So I'm waiting for some Metroid Prime 4 conversations. Might want to stick around for that. We also have Hoops and Hip Hop coming on. Got to talk some Pokemon and some other things about that. And yeah, Andres Restart's coming back on, and Mike Odyssey, and who the heck knows how our crew's going to round out, because we got the 6-pack arriving yet again on back-to-back weeks. So let's go, everyone. Let's get 2023 started with a bang. Catch you guys in that next video.